Today we're going to show you how to make a fruit tart that's delicious
and delightful, and it'll dazzle your taste buds.
We're so glad you have joined us today on Food for Thought. My name is Trishonna, and these are my sisters Audrey and Emberly, and we're the Benton Sisters. Today we're going to talk about temperance. It's another one of those wonderful laws out of the 8 laws for optimum physical health. Temperance is total abstinence from everything harmful and moderation of good things. All in temperance weaken brain nerve powers. Good physical habits strengthen our mental and moral powers, for there is a strong tie between our moral strength and our physical health. Moderation in all good things is the key. This topic of temperance covers much more than staying away from alcoholic beverages, teas, coffee, narcotics, and tobacco. Often people take things into their body that are harmful to their system without even being aware of it. And we also want to remember that eating good food is important, but eating too much of even what's good for you can be harmful to your health, because overeating is as hard on the body as working 10 hours of hard blue-collar labor. Also, exercise. Exercise is good for you, but done too much or too strenuously can be harmful. So having a balance is the key. This is true for all the activities of life. You may not be able to change everything overnight, but each thing that you can improve means the better your health will be. The word discipline means disciple. When we have self-discipline supported by our higher powers, we can be role models for others. Leadership often means doing what is right even when it's not possible. Remember the example Daniel gave in the Bible. Daniel refused to eat the king's meat and wine. He stood firm to the path he knew was right and best for him. And after 10 days of eating vegetables and water, he was stronger and healthier than all the young men on the king's diet. He was a good example and a model of temperance. Jesus and his disciples never lifted the ban on meat, fat, or blood. And his standards for us today on health so that we can be free of disease is just as valid as they were when he first gave them. In our society, we have a motto that says, if little is good, more is better. But with temperance, no matter how good it is, we want to keep it in balance. This is a wonderful thing to know, because when you eat the whole foods the way they are and quality nutrition, you have satisfaction and you don't have those cravings. So we want to eat of the food that God has given us in the original diet of fruits, vegetables, whole grains, nuts, seeds, and legumes, and cook quality, nutritious food. And today we're going to cook up some quality food today, aren't we?
That's right.
All right, what's the first recipe?
Well, we're going to make a pie crust, and this is going to be a crust for our fruit tart. Yeah.
Oh, right, that's great.
We need our magic mill. This is our whisper mill here, and it's nice and quiet. We're going to show you how to
mill your own flour.
Some grain. We have oat groats here, and our pie crust recipe calls for oat groats and pearl barley. And
we need flour, right? Okay.
So we're going to just go ahead and mill it.
Okay. Let's see here.
You want to turn it on first,
Correct.
and then put the grain in afterwards.
Okay.
We have some flour pre-milled in here, and so we have in this canister oat flour and barley flour already. You want 1 cup of oat flour and 1 cup and 1/4 of barley flour.
So why do we blend, when we just get it from the store, why do you want to do it fresh?
Well, you can have fresh milled grain from the health food store, but you never know when it has been that they've milled it. And oxygen,
So it wouldn't be fresh milled.
oxygen does destroy nutrients, and so you do, for best nutrition, want to get it fresh because oxygen can destroy the nutrients in our grains.
Okay.
And also, this pie crust is a wonderful way to have whole grains in a pie crust, and still, as you notice, the flour is nice and white. And so, instead of using whole wheat flour, which would be a whole grain, and having a dark pie crust, you can have the same benefits of whole grain by using different flours,
And
which we have
also,
done here.
Yeah, and also the reason why we like to use barley flour and oat flour is because barley flour gives it a flaky texture, and oat flour gives it a flaky texture, right?
Mm-hmm.
And barley flour holds it together. If you use straight oat, it'll be so flaky you won't be able to roll it out very good. So
And if you use straight barley, it would be really
too stiff.
too stiff. So the combination is an excellent combination, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you're not going to use oil in this recipe, right?
Right.
We're going to use our shortening,
Which is
cashews.
cashews,
You wanna make sure
natural, healthy shortening.
These are raw cashews, and you want to make sure they're washed first. We have salt in here, and they're washed. As you can tell, they won't come out. So we can get them out here, stuck in here.
And then a little water,
Half a cup of water.
and we'll
Actually-
blend these into a nice creamy paste, right?
Okay, 3/4 cup of water actually. And we have a cup and a half of cashews in there.
Have a little
with-
salt.
3/4 teaspoon of salt
We need honey in here?
and 2 tablespoons of honey.
Okay.
You need this or you're doing good.
Wait, faster.
And then a cup and a fourth of flour here,
Now,
a barley and a cup of oat.
right, and every time when you're working with cashews, the key to remember is blend for a long time because you want those cashews to be blended until they're satiny smooth. That's the consistency we're looking for. So we will blend it at this time.
Okay. Okay.
Now you want to blend it a lot longer than that, but we won't take the time to blend it the whole time for you
Okay.
today. So then what do we do next?
We're going to put it in a mixing bowl, show you a really fast way to do this. You can also do it by hand, but I like doing it this way. And we'll just pour the flour in here.
Okay, and then we put the shortening, our healthy shortening. You notice the consistency is pretty thick. And we put that in. And whipping it by hand, you could also do it that way or with the mixer. Makes it really nice.
So we'll just turn it on. Oh, it feels perfect.
So now we need to roll it out for pie crust, right?
Okay. And just shake off the dough hooks. You want to put it in the sink? Thank you.
When you make this pie crust at home, you're going to love the consistency.
Look at that. Holds together good, doesn't it? Let's see, where did we put our saran wrap?
It's right over here.
Can you get some for me? Thank you.
We like to use saran wrap to roll our pie crust out onto. Other people use wax paper, and we've tried that too, but it seems like the wax paper always starts to rip up, and saran wrap works really nice because that way you can see exactly what you're doing. And it doesn't stick to the paper, it doesn't stick to the pie crust.
Okay. Just roll this out.
Let me hold this for you.
When you're using whole grains, it's nice to have a nice heavy marble rolling pin so you don't have to work too hard, unless you want to get your exercise rolling out pie crust.
Okay. We'll need a big piece here. Roll it out nice and thin. Okay. I think I'll put a little bit more dough.
You're probably wondering how we discovered this pie crust recipe. Well, when I cook, you notice, if you've noticed, I don't like to do much cooking on TV, right? Because I feel like it's hard for me to concentrate when there's people watching me. So when I cook at home, I do it when there's no one around. And so one day I had the kitchen all to myself, and I decided I was going to make a healthy pie. Well, I went to the pantry to pull out our oat flour. That was the first ingredient we used to have. No, actually it was pearl barley flour. And I couldn't find the flour. And so look at what they're doing. They're putting the pie crust on here. Oops. Does not look good. Anyways, as I was telling you my story, I couldn't find the barley flour, and so I thought, well, I'll just mill my own, no problem. Well, I looked in the pantry, and there was all these grains, and that was before I really knew my grains that well, and I couldn't figure out which one was the right grain, the pearl barley. So I picked one, and when I made my flour, it was so hard to roll out. It was just like rock hard. I thought, this pie crust is going to be like cardboard, and everyone's going to wonder what I did wrong. But when I started, I explained my problem, how, you know, when they sampled the pie, what I went through. And when we tasted it, it was the most flaky pie crust we'd had ever made. And they asked me what I did, and I said, well, I just used the regular flour, milled my own, and they asked me to show them. My sisters, you know, wanted to know which flour I used, which grain I used, and as I showed them, they go, oh, that's not barley, that's oat groats. And so we discovered that oat groats and pearl barley mixed together makes a wonderful combination. And there's so many nutrients in oats. And you know, when you think about those horses and different animals that are so strong, oxes have all that endurance and strength, what do they eat? They eat a lot of grains. This is our power-packed food that's stored full of nutrition, and we need to have it in our diet too. And isn't this exciting? You can get a wonderful whole grain in your diet and have it so fun because we're making a dessert out of it. You'll just love this recipe. And this recipe is so easy to work with. Conventional pie crust, if you roll it out more than one time, it gets stiffer and stiffer if you try to roll it out again. But this pie crust, I think it's because there's less gluten content in it. You can roll it out, and if you mess up and you don't have a fancy edge that you like, you can work it and remold it, and it doesn't have to worry about it getting stiffer or have those lines in there that you can't get rid of. In fact, a lot of ladies tell us that this pie crust is like working with Play-Doh. Sounds like fun. You can be a kid again in your kitchen.
Yeah. A trick to keep from getting your saran wrap to slide around is to put some water down first. So when you do it at home, make sure you get some water down.
All right, so
you just need a little bit more. This pan's so big, I just need to roll out a little bit more for it. Okay.
All right, so
there.
After we're done with the pie crust, are you going to bake it, or are we going to put a filling in it?
We're going to pre-bake it.
Pre-bake it. And do you prick the bottom, and you pre-bake it.
Make sure you poke with a fork.
And we'll bake it at 350 for, is it 15 minutes? 15 minutes at 350? I think that's about the length of time.
Minutes. See how you do this? Just roll up little pieces and stick it on the edge.
Now, with regular pie crust, you wouldn't dare do something like that because it would never form together. You see, it looks like it's all scarred up and damaged, but we're going to be able to blend it together really smoothly, and it looks just perfect when you're all done. This pie crust is really easy to work with. I wish you were here. We'd give you a sample. You could feel the texture. It's so soft and easy to form, nice and moist. The cashews keep it moist and also give it the natural oil, the essential fatty acids that we need for optimum physical health. And of all the nuts, they're the lowest in fat. But you know, almonds are excellent too. So if you don't like cashews or you can't find them, you can also use blanched almonds. And of all the nuts, almonds are the king of the nuts. They're high in calcium and all of the other nutrients. And so you really don't have to worry about the fat content in the nuts because it's the essential fatty acids that we need for optimum physical health. And when you consider the oil content in the nuts versus the actual oil derivative from some vegetable product like corn, it takes 14 years of corn just to make a tablespoon of corn oil. That's quite highly concentrated.
That's a lot.
And so you want to make sure that you're getting the fat that you need, but from the right source. So how is the pie crust coming along, Emberly?
Oh, really good. You just, what I'm doing is fluting the edges, and my favorite is using my index finger and my thumb and just pushing it like that.
There's a lot of different patterns you can use. You can use a fork or back of a spoon and making little shapes of circles like ruffles and stuff. So whatever works good for you, you can try different things. It's a lot of fun. So you're going to prick it with a fork and put it in the oven to bake.
Yeah.
And then we're going to get on to making the filling for our tart. Right?
Right, I'm going to bake it for about 10 minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
While you do that, we'll start with the filling.
And
we need a blender for this.
Of course, right? Because we're going to make it from scratch.
That's right. And Trishonna, can you read off the ingredients for us? This is
Sure.
in your Volume 1 cookbook.
First ingredient we need is morning tofu, firmed, 1 package that is. And we also need 1 cup of coconut milk, a fourth of a teaspoon of coconut extract, 1.5 tablespoons of lemon juice, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 2/3 of a cup of honey, 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt, and 1/2 a teaspoon of butter flavoring. And that's dairy-free, of course. And then 1 tablespoon of sesame seeds and 1/4 of a cup of water, and then 1.5 tablespoons of Eames kosher gel. And that's the jelly ingredients that we need to make the recipe set up, right?
Right.
Okay, is the water hot? Getting hot over there?
Yeah, it should be warming up pretty soon.
Okay,
We'll
we
add our
need
tofu.
1 package of morning tofu, and you want this is firm tofu we're using. And it's silken tofu.
And then we'll add our Ames.
Our sesame seeds.
And why don't we go ahead and pour our water over the Ames before we add any more, so that way we can make sure
Okay,
our Ames activates.
it's pretty hot. You want hot water. It's
Just need a 1/4.
simmering here.
Excellent. Perfect. Okay, and then we'll add our lemon juice and our butter flavoring.
What flavor is this cream mixture we're
It's
making?
going to be like a cream cheese.
cream cheese.
Well, it's not a cream cheese recipe, but it's like that.
Yeah, flavor. Okay.
I just don't put the vanilla in.
And butter flavoring.
And we might as well put the honey in.
Here's a spatula if you need it.
Okay. This is another really easy recipe.
Just a few ingredients and blend, right? You're probably thinking that if you don't have a blender, then you can't make any of these recipes. But you know,
We've done it though with just
any type of blender.
any
just-
blender.
You know, if you want to take cooking in the kitchen serious, it's nice to have serious equipment, right?
That's right.
And so you might want to ask it for Christmas or your birthday, or save up, because it really helps to have quality equipment. But these recipes will work in any machine you have. So, all right, looks like you're ready to blend.
Okay, you want to blend it for about a minute.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, we won't take all the time to blend it now.
Okay, this is all done here. And Emberly, do you
I
have
have
a pie crust for us?
Yeah, this one's been pre-baked.
Okay, we just pour it in.
And then you let that set up in the refrigerator,
Until it's firm.
and it firms up like kind of like a Jello or a cream pudding or something like that.
Okay,
Great.
we'll just put that in the fridge right now.
Okay.
Let me take it.
Sure.
Okay.
Careful.
And now, what's the next step that you take at this time?
Well, I have one now already set up.
Wow, we have all these backup rolls, and here's the fruit right over here. I think that's what you need, right? And you're going to show us how to garnish our fruit tart, aren't you?
And while I garnish it, you can talk about the pineapple, the glaze we put over the top, because there's a card right there for you.
Okay, what we're going to do, you're going to put the fruit on the thing, and you can go ahead and show
Okay.
our friends how it's done. And after that, we make a glaze to go over the fruit, so we'll have a nice, kind of like a Jello seal that's kind of clear, made out of pineapple juice. And I think that's already setting up in the refrigerator. We already made that ahead of time. What you need to do is you take pineapple juice, 1 cup of pineapple juice, and add 1.5 tablespoons of Eames kosher gel, and you want to make it like a Jello. And of course, heat the Ames with the pineapple juice, and then let it set up in the refrigerator. And as it's setting in the refrigerator, then you want to, let it gel up like Jello, but don't let it get all the way firm like Jello. You want to get it to the consistency of what I call aloe vera gel, Emberly?
Yes.
Okay, the consistency of aloe vera gel.
Don't use aloe vera.
That's right. It was so funny. At one cooking class, we were sharing this tip, and a lady, she was talking to her neighbor sitting next to her in the class, and afterwards she goes, now how much aloe vera am I supposed to add to my recipe?
Oh dear.
Everyone laughed, it was so funny. But you want to make sure it gets to the consistency of aloe vera gel, you know, so a little bit thick but not gelled completely. And that when it's at that consistency, then you take it and you put it over your fruit, then you let it finish setting up in the refrigerator until it gets firm up like Jell-O, and it will be nice clear glaze, and it will really hold your fruit together and look really nice, so that when you cut your slices, it will keep its shape and it makes a really nice finish.
Isn't this beautiful?
This is
Live food for live people.
That's right. It's full of color, and remember, every color in the fruits and vegetables is a different nutrient and have different vitamins, and so you want to use a whole bunch of color, and it also adds to the eye appeal and makes it really beautiful. You know, God wouldn't you say He's a lover of beauty? And I think He has a sweet tooth, all these wonderful fruits He has provided for us.
Yes.
And so this is just another one of those beautiful recipes. So we have our whole grain, 2 types of grain in the crust, plus we have no oil added to the pie crust. We added
some pineapple
our
oil.
own, you might say, shortening from cashews, or you can use almonds. And then what else do we have in there? We have a wonderful cream. It's like a cheesecake cream but no dairy, right? Just using tofu, so it's low in fat and no cholesterol. And also we have the fruit topping and a nice glaze that doesn't have any Knox gelatin in it. Everyone knows what Knox gelatin is made out of. It's made out of horse hooves or the hide trimmings of animals, and so we want to stay away from Knox gelatin and use Eames kosher gel. Eames kosher gel is made out of carrageen bean or seaweed, and so that sounds more appetizing to me than horse hooves, doesn't it to you?
For sure.
And so
Just use any kind of fruit you like.
and also,
Fresh fruit.
I think whipped cream on this recipe would be really good, and so I have the whipped cream right here, Emberly, for you to start putting on.
Okay, you can go ahead and put that in the cake decorator.
Okay, let me move this platter, make more space.
Use lots of color. The more color you have, the prettier it'll be.
Strawberries would even be really good on here.
So what we have, yes, that's excellent. So we have is pineapple, mandarins, and blackberries, and raspberries, and kiwis, and blueberries.
And here's our whipped cream. It's all nice and fluffy. This is non-dairy. Take a look at this. Isn't that pretty? Nice, yummy whipped cream. We made it out of our cookbook, and I'm going to put this in the cake decorator.
Here, let me help you with
Yeah,
this.
this takes 2 hands. Not very good.
4 hands.
4 hands. Teamwork. It's the trick. Sometimes they say that more than one cook spoils a soup.
Well, you
And
do that.
also they say 3 is the crowd, but I say 3 is company, right?
Yeah.
Teamwork is the key in making. So get your family together and cook in the kitchen.
That's probably
Makes
good.
a lot of fun.
Now this cake decorator is a professional one, but if you don't have one of these, you can use a Ziploc bag. Just cut the end off with scissors and it works really good. And Emberly, do you have the glaze? right
Yeah.
here?
This is about a cup of pineapple
Okay.
with
The gel.
You have a little card over there. Do you see
Yeah,
it? How much was it?
It was 1.5 tablespoons, I believe.
Of Ames gelatin.
Right.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Okay, you just
And
putting
so
that on.
we just let it cool a little bit. You boil it first, and you add your Ames, and then you let it cool a little bit in the fridge. Let's see, maybe I'll just pour it on here. That'll be faster.
Oh, that looks good.
And then you want to let it sit up in the fridge.
And this whipping cream you're gonna put on there, right?
Yes, and that way you can your glaze will hold your fruit together, so that way when you cut it, it doesn't fall apart.
And you can use any cake tip you like. This one here is, I'll turn this for you. You see that?
That's good.
Any swirl. And using a Ziploc bag.
And this is our non-dairy whipped cream, right? From our
Right.
cookbook, just made out of natural foods, whole foods.
Works pretty good.
Can you believe it?
Isn't that
No.
looking beautiful?
You even could decorate cakes with this.
Who says eating healthfully is blah and boring? In fact, we haven't given up anything, but
That's
we've
good.
gained everything. I know making changes can be difficult at first, but make goals and have sound judgment and have attainments and reasonable goals. And when you reach these goals, make more goals and always go forward in advancing. Also remember, no road is too long or too lonely when you have good company. So seek others that will share your joy with you and your quest for a healthy lifestyle. And especially in your journey to a better lifestyle and more success in your life, have Jesus be your guide and your companion, because he loves you and he wants you to live with optimum physical health. Isn't that a beautiful dessert? Mm-hmm. Well, don't go away. We'll be right back.
If you've enjoyed the recipes and cooking tips in this program, you'll want to order our Food for Thought resource sheet. We'll tell you how you can order the cookbooks you've seen used on this program, along with other information that will help you cook healthful, attractive vegetarian meals. For your free copy of our Food for Thought resource sheet, please write to us at Food for Thought, P.O. Box 220, West Frankfort, Illinois 62896, or call 618-627-4651.
By popular demand, we have provided a starter kit for you to stock your kitchen.
And you can find out more information on that. Just call the station and ask for the information sheet. And you know, making those goals are successful and easy to accomplish when you have Jesus to help you. Jesus is a wonderful friend. He's just a whisper away.
Jesus, take control of my life, and then I will be just what you want me to be.
Jesus, I give you my will. I'm willing to be just what you want me to be.
Jesus, fill my thoughts with your love, so then they will be full of your sweet melody.
Lord, you know I'm ready to go anywhere that there is a need. Lord, you know I'm ready to go anywhere that you want to lead. Anywhere that you want to lead. Ooh.
And now we would like to close with our food for thought for today. Eternity is before us. All improvements we make here in refining and elevating ourselves by connecting closely with heaven will be translated with us. Jesus is our best friend, and he will help you in reaching those goals you have set so that we can have a successful life in this world and the world to come.
And remember, your imagination is your only limitation.
And if we can do it, you can do it too.
So may God richly and abundantly bless you and your family in your quest for a healthy lifestyle. Thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.